I think it's important, given our day and age, to talk about a form of white privilege that's not really spoken on very often. And that's dancing. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't claim that due to white privilege, only white people are allowed to dance. I do claim that due to white privilege, only white people are allowed to dance like white people dance. For example, the other day I walked into a club with my significantly darker skinned friends, and let's just say that when I tried to do the Macarena, it was the closest thing I'd actually ever seen to real black on black crime.
I think that evolution is real, or it's not.
Tell me a joke.
Episode 3. Anyway, enough joking around. Today we have Tosh.
Hi.
Tosh
Hi.
Foerster.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Nice to see you again, Nathaniel.
Very good to see you. We should probably disclose, full disclosure for the audience, we are friends.
Yeah, it seems only fair.
It's not just a professional relationship. that
No,
we
as
have here.
professional as it may seem, I've known you since, what, 4th grade, 3rd grade?
Oh, way earlier
Way-
than
way
that.
earlier than
We
that.
were very young. when we
As
first
far
met
as
each
my
other.
memory goes.
People wonder, like, where do my memories actually start? And you're
Yeah.
just definitively like
Yeah,
9.
4th grade, yeah. It's,
9.
it's incredibly unhealthy.
Yeah. So you do stand-up. I do
Right.
stand-up, but we're here today to talk
To
about
sit down.
to sit down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, because of stand-up. You don't have to have any sort of perfect, eloquent answer to this, but what do you
Yeah.
call like the style of the comedy that you do?
I work at a place called the High Horse. I love the High Horse. I get to meet a lot of new people, a lot of new friends, a lot of new characters. There's this guy at the High Horse called Kote, who became one of my good friends for a while before he left. Kote is a lot like the gym teacher I never had in high school. Mostly because the gym teachers I had in high school never sexually harassed me.
I'm not trying to box in my style right now because I think there's going to be one performance that I have where I go, like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's how I want to sound each time I go on stage, you know, whether that's the same jokes or not, you know, that doesn't matter. But, like, I want to sound that way.
I want to get into one, like, so first of all, your comedy is very like candid. You're very like
Yeah.
honest with the audience.
Right.
And I want to get into one like just hilarious experience of like one of the first times probably that your parents came to see.
Yeah, the first time since, like, my high school.
I was always raised self-conscious. It's nobody's fault, it's just the way my parents decided I should be. To be honest, I've accepted that. And the way my parents have made up for it is that they've given me fun facts every day that my other brothers don't know about, so that I always feel a little bit smarter than them in some way. Recently, though, the facts have been getting a little bit more and more absurd. The latest fun fact that my parents told me this morning was that 40% of all marriages last longer if they use anal sex. I just wish my parents would stop bragging about it.
So anyway.
So anyway, you know, then you're doing that joke.
Yeah, you gotta like kind of as a comedian, you gotta kind of go, is it worth it for
Right.
you know the laughter? And the answer is almost always got to be yes. So I performed that joke in front of my parents, and the first time they see me perform in 3 years, I talk about them having anal sex.
Yeah.
And you know, after the show, you know, Tosh, come over here. You know, I walk over to them, you know, in the corner of the bar, and they go, that was one of the best jokes I've ever heard.
I'm at a stage in my life as a young adult where I have friends who are actually getting ready to be married, and I have friends who still leave their lotion and tissues next to their bed when I come over.
I definitely think it's almost like it's all on me, and so I'm more comfortable in that scenario, you know? Like, I like working with other actors on stage, but there's something about stand-up and being able to be the entire show that makes me feel more comfortable and in my element. I can
Absolutely.
react off myself better than I can react off of anybody else. I think it would be tough for me to do improv. I think it would be a little bit tough for me Not to say that I wouldn't or I couldn't, because I'd love to experience that.
Yeah.
But there's such a feeling of what I'm going to say is going to blow you away and be the funniest.
Yeah.
And you can't have that during improv, I would assume, because it's a group thing.
Exactly.
But like you can totally have that as a comedian.
Exactly.
Everybody shut up. What I'm going to say is funnier.
It's the funniest thing. Yeah, exactly.
And you treat the audience just like you treat hecklers. Just shut up and listen.
For those of you who don't know, I'm actually mixed race. That means my mom's black and my dad's white. Usually not a problem. There are a couple times every year where it becomes a little bit confusing for myself as a person of color to talk to my father, a white man. Usually these are gift-giving occasions. For example, every Christmas when my dad asked me what I wanted, it was always a little bit uncomfortable when I asked him for reparations.
So I think probably the last thing I want to talk about, because
Yeah,
I just think it would be a good way to bring things full circle, is an event that, in a way, I think got both of us started with the stand-up thing, which was the first ARHS stand-up night.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about that a little bit, if you want to go into how that process started and how you conceived of that idea.
11th grade. So beginning of 11th grade, we would run into each other at the locker rooms for like 10 minutes before class and tell each other jokes. And it went from just telling each other jokes like we did every other year to being competitive about our jokes.
Right.
Doing sets about our jokes, to check out this bit I did the other day, to, can we do this in front of people?
Right.
And really, as soon as it really got to, I want to do this in front of more people than just us, I want to do stand-up, it was one of those where, why not, like who's stopping us?
Right, exactly.
And so obviously there was a lot of searching of like, how do we do this? How do we go perform? All of these places are 21 and up.
Yeah.
So how do we get two 16-year-old, kids to perform stand-up? How do we go about that?
I think a lot of rappers nowadays want to be called daddy, an awful lot for a group of people who haven't paid child support since Bush was in office. And while we're on the topic of making fun of marginalized groups who clearly aren't here to defend themselves, I think Colombians look awful sleepy for a community whose two main exports are cocaine and coffee.
The curve was so steep for almost every single person in there, considering it was all of our first times performing comedy. Nobody had performed comedy once before that. So it was just, the 11 of us, me and Nick included, that were just going, all right, we signed up for this. So now we're definitely going on stage in front of all these people, and we got to be good. Like, we don't have another option. And that was a really cool experience. Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
I guess I'll conclude something. What I always tend to think is, you said, you go from those rehearsals and say, I hope I never hear them laugh again.
Yeah.
And what you can only hope is that someday you'll walk out of a performance and say, I wish I never hear them laugh again, because that's how you know you've made it.
Yep, absolutely, man.
Yep.
I cannot wait for those days.
I've been getting into astrology a lot lately. Actually, I've been into astrology for about roughly the same amount of time since I've last had sex. This means that I know now that I am not only a single or double, but actually a triple Leo. I know exactly why lavender is going to be my color in fall, and I know who and when I will get married on my 25th birthday. What I do not know is where the condoms are in my room. But actually, I've found a way for astrology to help me on that point as well. I've realized that astrology matches signs with each other for the most compatibility. For example, I am apparently incredibly seductive to all Sagittarius. This idea backfired horribly, and now I can only jerk off to porn stars born between November 21st and December 22nd.